Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 4 of our Inktober challenge. In these videos, I am recording a new pattern each day for 31 days, and I'm getting these off of a list by Stephanie Jennifer Assisi T. I have that linked below, the packet to all of the tangles she chose for this month, and then you can actually click on each of those tangles and it will take you to the step outs on how to create them. I highly recommend you getting that packet, you clicking on each tangle and seeing all of the amazing variations. So what I am doing for this challenge is I am drawing every day on a little bijou tile and then also on this larger compilation piece that in the end is going to have all 31 tangles on it. That's what I'm doing. You can do this however you want. It's just the idea of drawing a little bit each day. So today the tangle is called Toodles and it is by Zentangle. So much fun when we have these Zentangle originals. And I'm using my micron pen, a graphite pencil, and a blending tool. And these little 2" by 2" bijou tiles, these and the tile are all from Zentangle.com. The piece behind is just a piece of white, thicker cardstock. That's all it is. It's not watercolor paper or anything fancy. It's just cardstock, an easy thing to draw on and blend with. So that's what I'm using. All right, I also have this little calendar, Inktober 2025. This was something I provided in some Inktober kits that I created for the month. If there are any left, they will be on my website, www.minsofzen.com, but I'm not sure at this point if any will be left at the airing of this video. Okay, so in the kit I included this. If you don't have this, just print off any October calendar from the internet and use it to draw in if you would like. I like just putting a quick little sampler of each tangle and the name of it beside it. So today is Toodles and it is this beautiful leaf-like pattern. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna slide these away and take my little tile and flip it over and zoom in. Okay. Toodles is so elegant. It's so organic, just meaning like it's, it's like a leaf in nature, but it doesn't have to look exactly like a leaf. It just kind of gives that vibe of a leafy green thing you would find in the forest. Okay, so to make this, we're gonna start with a light S shape. So it's just the slightest curve of an S. So I'm gonna start up here and I'm gonna go down like that. So I made this really fine S shape. And then there's something called a tethered aura within the Zentangled community. So an aura is a line that goes beside another line. A tethered aura is the name they gave it when it's tethered at one end, goes out, and then is possibly tethered again at the other end. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start at the point, and then I'm just gonna go a little bit wider, and then back down to that point. After yesterday's tangle, where it was very like geometric, it's fun today to do something with a little bit more fluidity. Is that the right word? Okay, after you have that basic shape in, we're going to come up each side from the bottom and do a little shape called a fescue. And so what that is, I'm gonna come right up the side and then slightly veer off and give it a slight curl. And at the end of that curl, I'm going to tuck back in and darken it. That's a fescue shape. We used them on day 1 around our festoon. Then I'm going to do another one, and this one I want to go up maybe a little bit further along this line and then come off. So I'm going to follow it and then branch off, give a little curl, and then tuck that in. It's already so pretty and elegant. All right, this next part, if you want to try it in pencil first, you can. I'm going to do it in pencil just so I can show you the movement. So for this part, we're going to come down this point. So we're not going to come off of it like a curve. We're going to come down, and then we're going to go a nice big round, and then come back up and land somewhere on this little stem. So watch, I'm going to come down here, round out, and come in, and see how I took up so much of this tile. Then it can land, you know, down here like this if you want, or up here, it doesn't matter. But it's this idea of going down and around. There's a slight curve here. Same thing on this side. I'm going to give a slight curve and then go around. I think I want to go down this a little bit and then over. And also when I go over, I like to come like up, like over, then tuck up a little bit. And I meant to land on the stem, not on this part. Good thing I did it in pencil first. Okay, play with that motion a little bit, and then when you're ready, take your pen and go up. I'm going to make mine land on that fescue shape. All right, did you get that part done? Look at how pretty that is. Okay, that is Toodles, just like that. But now if you want to embellish it at all, you could put something in this little middle stem part. So you could do some little circles or some striping or some zigzags or some dots, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to do some circles. And I like to start in the largest area and make sure it touches both sides. And then I just keep making them, and they're going to get smaller and smaller as I fill that stem. And if you don't want to do circles, don't do them. It's okay. I'm also going to ink in those tiny little areas left over between the circles. This is not part of Toodles, it's just an embellishment. Also, at the top up here, I'm going to add a fescue shape. Just to sort of make this longer. And down here, if yours is feeling really short, then you can make that longer. You could even give it a little curl if you want. If I was drawing this on a tile or just kind of doodling on a piece of paper, I might fill in these areas. I might do like a little aura or an aura around the stem. There's so many ways that you can play and embellish once you have the basic tangle or pattern down. So much fun. Okay, I'm gonna embellish a little bit more just by putting some dots up here and some dots down here. And then I'm gonna do some shading. If you have an eraser, you can erase your pencil lines. I don't think I need to. So I'm gonna grab my pencil to do some shading. All right, I'm gonna go to the right side of the stem, and I'm gonna put some graphite right against that middle. And I'm putting it kind of thick because I've got a big area here. And then I'm gonna pull that away. Like that. And then I'm gonna do the inside of this curve. And I'm gonna soften that. I'm also gonna do the inside of this curve. So this looks like it's part of this line, but it's not, it's part of this. So I'm gonna come up the side and up into there a little bit. And give that some graphite as well. Now in the examples, they only put the graphite on the one side, but I feel like I need it on both sides. I don't know why, is it just me? So I'm gonna put a little bit on this side as well. Just feel like it needs a little something over there. That feels better to me. I'm also gonna look for an eraser for a moment to see if I can get rid of some of those pencil lines. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm recording this away from home and I do not have an eraser. It's okay, I just wanted to kind of clean that up more for you guys. All right, so I've done all the inside shading, but I still feel like this feels flat against the white tile. So I'm gonna add some shading around the outside. So I'm just putting a little bit of graphite nice and tight against that outside line. And that's just going to separate that shape from the background a little bit and kind of lift it off the paper. See how that just sort of lifts it up a little bit? I'm gonna go around that top part as well. And there we go, that's Toodles. It's so pretty. I'm gonna add my initials to the corner. Like so, and now we have tile number 4. All right, let's add that to our compilation. Okay. So now the question is, where do we want to add this? I feel like I want to make several. I don't just want to make one and be done. I want to make a couple of them because they're just so pretty and so organic and offer such movement that I feel like we need a few of them. So I think I'm going to do some right here. Again, yours might not line up exactly like mine. It's okay. All right, I don't think I need to make it quite that big because I'm not doing one. I'm going to do a couple of them. But I do want to kind of nestle it in this corner So I'm gonna turn mine a little bit and put this right here, that kind of an S shape, a lazy S. And then I do that tethered aura, and I'm gonna let it just touch right down to that point. I also feel like at the top, I would like to make that a little bit longer. All right, then we need those two fescue shapes coming up, and I like to follow along and then come up here. You can give it a little curve, or it can just come out kind of straight like mine did. And I'm gonna come up this side and do the same thing. These ones over here, I curved more. I don't know why I made those kind of straight. It looks like a little dancing banana. Okay, now I have to do that movement where I scoop down and go around. I'm gonna do it in pencil first because I want to show you how mine is gonna bump off my page, and I love that because the idea is that I'm gonna fill this whole piece of paper and I don't want a lot of empty spots. So I'm gonna scoop down, and it would come out here and then come back down this way. Does that make sense? And this one's gonna scoop down and around. I'm gonna make this even longer. Down and around. Down and around. I feel like every time you make Toodles, it turns out slightly different. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there for a moment because I wanna do one this way. Turn my paper as I go. And I want one right here. And then maybe I'll put a third one. So this one I'm gonna do an S this way. And you could do it the opposite way as well if you wanted like a backwards S. I'm just sticking to what we've done today because it seems to be the easiest for my brain. Do that little tethered aura. Come up the side. I'm gonna give it a little curve this time. Come up this side. It's gonna kind of tuck in, so I'm just gonna imagine where it comes out, making my little dancing banana. And I'm gonna come out here, nice and big and round and tuck in. And this one I didn't do as much of a dip up here, and I kind of like that. And then this one would come here and maybe land there. I'm just guessing, I don't know. All right, I was going to do 3, but I think I'm gonna stick with the 2 for a minute. Okay, this one over here, I'm gonna add the orbs in the middle. Orbs or circles. In the Zentangle community, they call them orbs because orbs don't have to be perfectly round. Circle makes us feel like it has to be perfect, and we don't want that. I'm gonna fill in those tiny spaces in between. You don't have to, it looks cool without it. And this one over here, I think I'm gonna do some striping. So I'm just going to put in some thin little stripes. Gives it some texture. I also like this kind of a fescue thing at the top, so I'm going to give this one a little bit of a thicker top, and this one. It doesn't matter what direction they go. So we're going to do some shading and some things around it, but I want to show you a technique. Right here, I just kind of accidentally thickened that part, but that is a technique that people use. So I could actually thicken this whole side over here. And look at how bold that is. And then maybe I continue that around. Or maybe I thicken just one side of this little fescue. But look at how cool that is. I could do the same thing over here. Maybe I just thicken like this rounded part down here. Look at how pretty. Or maybe I thicken this part. So play around. Play with what feels right, what feels fun, what feels comfortable. Okay. So before I shade it, I want to make this a solid part of the compilation. I don't want these to just be flying around with all this empty space. So I'm going to show you a technique that I like to use, which is aura-ing. So I'm going to do an aura around these two pieces, okay? So I'm just going to come up the side like this. I'm going to go around the top. I'm going to go around this leaf and then down the stem and then the other side here. Now I just made this a little bit thicker. I made it stand out a little bit more and I took up some more space. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to come up the side, around. I love that these two are bumping into each other. Around there, and then it comes out this way. If yours are not bumping into each other, that is okay too. You could draw another smaller one, or you could put a little festoon in there, or you could do just some big circles. There's so many ways to fill in spaces, and you could also just leave it blank until later when you're more comfortable filling in an area. But now that I've done that, I've got this little space in here, and I like to put in orbs or circles. So I'm going to do that with a reflection. And then I'm going to aura it. So I'm going to put, like, you can almost see how it's got this little border around it. And then I can keep aura-ing, or I can fill this space in with ink. Yours is going to be a different space than mine, so you do what you want to do. Remember down here, I just added several auras to fill it in, and it looked great. Now I've got this little spot here. I'm going to ink that in. If it was bigger, I would put a circle and an aura. But now what I have done is taken these two leafy patterns and I've completely cemented them to the things around them. There is no dead space. Like even right here, I could put something, but it's open to this out here, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. But now I've got no extra areas in here that I need to fill in. If If you made yours very small and you want to add more, keep going. Add another one. Tuck one in down to one of these spaces if you want. They're so pretty. All right, I'm gonna do some shading and then we'll be done. All right, I'm gonna go on both sides of this stem just because that's what I prefer. So both sides of the stem. And then on that inside edge of each of these fescues coming up. Okay, let's see what that does. Inside of the fescue, inside, and then outside of the stem. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna do the next one over here. Alongside the stem, on both sides, and then inside that little fescue shape. However it worked on yours. Like I just went into my border, I don't care. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what I'm trying to do. Okay, that looks pretty amazing. Now I have to look at where these things overlap or tuck underneath things. So if I take this one here, it tucks under the frame. So I need some shading right there. It also tucks underneath this pattern. So I need a shadow over there. Does that make sense? Okay, so I need a little shadow here and a little shadow here. But then this one tucks under two things and under this Toodles a tiny bit. So I can give a shadow there. Down here, doesn't really need it, it's a lot of ink. And then this right here, it tucks into Melvina. And that gets a little shadow. These are just tiny little details, but it gives you a more fluid composition. Okay, if you have anywhere else that you need to add any shading to that one, go ahead. But I think I'm just gonna leave it for right now. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. And so far, all of those together looks something like this. Now I'm noticing my little orb down here. He needs a shadow there and there. Then he kind of just gets tucked into the background, which I like. And then eventually these will have shading around the outside edges too. We could do it now, but let's just wait till we add another tangle and something bumps into it. But there we go. I'm thrilled with how this is turning out so far. I'm thrilled that you're all here doing this with me. Join me again tomorrow for day 5. If you want commercial-free videos, join my Patreon. I will link it below in the description of the video. It's $5 a month, but you get commercial-free videos. Also follow me at Let's Tangle on Facebook if you want to share your work every Sunday for Show and Tell Sundays. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.